Right, let us talk, Peter, about this main story we're talking about today, the Bibi Stockholm. People will be arriving on the boat this morning. We will bring you those pictures live if you are listening and watching at home. Is this a good news day for the government once people start walking up that gangway?
Not really, no. I find this all very, very depressing. I mean, obviously, today we've had the news as well about Ascension Island being considered now as a kind of backup plan, which actually, the Ascension Island point is actually a very good one. In fact, the New Culture Forum has been calling for this. My senior colleague, senior fellow there, Rafe Hadelman-Koo, who you might know, was talking about this very thing on Saturday. That is a far more plausible plan. But the problem with this is that people, now feel that this is entirely window dressing with what? Election in maybe a year's time, just over a year's time. If this was such a good idea, why did they not come up with it, well, actually 13 years ago? I mean, we're now having, I think it's about 15,000 illegals already this year. We're sort of on course to have another record. And I think that really what it comes down to, Bev, is that people just don't want these people here. Right? It's as simple as that. But this is seen as a triumph. Is how are we dealing with them? I mean, how not are we stopping them, but how are we dealing with them? And it's a completely different argument. People want to know how you're going to stop it,
Yeah, isn't that the point, Bushra? What we have is a government singularly, provably and openly failing to take back control of our borders, which was an electoral pledge in every election since 2010 for the last 13 ruddy years. And now they can't stop it. They're just throwing out these, what I feel are like gimmicks. Gimmicks. Try and make it seem like they're doing something about it. But the root cause of the problem, Peter, you've nailed it. They're not stopping the arrivals. No. It's just a case of where we put them and how much it costs.
Yeah, Peter's right with this as well. They've had 13 years to figure out a plan, what that's going to look like. We don't even know whether this is going to work. It might be, some people will be happy that we've got individuals going onto the barge, but the truth is there is going to be a lot of issues that are going to happen once they are on that barge. This is not the end of it because we know that they have free fall to walk in and out. They can leave and, come and go as they please. So what are the other repercussions of having these individuals on a barge? We are going to see that play out because we haven't seen any action. We haven't seen results. And this is the big question mark that I have, is this actually going to work?
This is, I'm so utterly sick of this now. I mean, and I think that the government just simply, first of all, doesn't understand how angry people are getting, but also actually doesn't care. I mean, at a local level, whether it's this barge or whatever, even in military bases, hotels, whatever, I would like to see that barge, if you've got to have a barge full of our homeless veterans, for example, 9,000 of them sleeping rough, in the streets, instead of which, we are sort of kvetching about, is this going to be comfortable enough? Is this humane? And all of these things. And in fact, it is, as you say, it's not about, we'll have more time to process all the claims. I mean, the fact is this country accepts most of the claims anyway. In Europe, they actually disallow most of the claims. These are the big questions, which this is just like, around the edges, tampering around the edges.
OK. Right, moving on to... what do we want to talk about next, Martin? I think it was the...
Yeah, why don't we move on to Bushra? Peter's done a story. This is the thing. Of course, we're doing Don't Kill Cash campaign at GB News. If you haven't signed up yet, get involved. We're almost on the $250,000 mark. Where have you been? $250,000. We can start putting it to the government, to the banks, and start to take proper action. Enough of a plug, Bushra. Your story here. NatWest is taking this further. They're limiting the amount of cash we can even withdraw.
Yeah, they are. They are. What's happening is they are forcing something that's going to come into play on September the 11th. And this is bearing in mind without consulting the consumer. So any policies that a bank introduces has to consult the consumer before they decide on something. And this is exactly what we've been talking about. And I know Nigel Farage has been doing an amazing job with the whole debanking, issues, is we are heading to a cashless society. And my fear with this is still about controlling people. It's controlling where you go, how you spend your money, how much you have it, how you get your money. Because as far as I know, I think it was a Tory MP, Anne-Marie, said that they've got a slogan that says, tomorrow begins today. So what do they mean by tomorrow begins today? Is this, we want to know what you're doing with your money and we will tell you how to use it?
It's also, it's such an overused word, isn't it? But it's all of it's so Orwellian, you know,
Yes.
tomorrow begins today. What worries me about this and this cashless thing, first of all, what about millions of old people who rely on cash, for example, but also it's got sort of, you know, very strong sense of this Chinese social credit system, which I think most people still don't quite know what that is. But in a nutshell, what it means is, for example, you know, and you know, this is what happens when it's cash free, is that, you know, suppose you haven't paid your mortgage or you've fallen behind, you then go to the railway station to get a ticket somewhere and they say, I'm sorry, we can't sell this to you because you've fallen behind on your mortgage repayment.
Yeah.
So that is utter social and economic
And that
control.
is tomorrow beginning today.
Yes, exactly.
Tomorrow begins today is such a chilling slogan.